morning, New York. Today's subject, now is finding, working, healing, and enlightening your inner self, inner mind community. A lot of people go, how do I find my inner self? And they think about it in very esoteric kinds of terms. Your inner self is where you integrate many perspectives and tell yourself this is me in time. And core of yourself is the part of you that's most connected to your needs and your feelings. Some call that the inner child. And but you don't need to be a child to have one. You have got an inner self, and but getting to your feelings is not always easy. If you're going to get to your real feeling, which is your most true self, then that gets a little bit involved. It's about working with anything that's blocking your connection to that inner beautiful child in you. In inner mind communication, we call that the kid. This version of communication, which we label the practice of empathetic awareness. So you have feelings on 3 levels. One is your feelings that aren't connected to a self-concept. Another, feelings are connected to need. Need is connected to the meeting of need, love flow. All right. That basic infant mind perspective involved with feelings and needs requires a particular kind of awareness and expression, and it connects to 3 basic things that later on evolve into 3 forms of empathy. And those 3 basic abilities, skills that we have to connect with and express our feelings are the ability to be at play, be focus, and to express those feelings. which is vital to survival. And the next level is when you're first have a kind of a self concept. You become much more of a socially aware individual, and that's what I call the kid. And there is a sense of a self awareness. The infant mind is not. I might argue that it's your deepest inner self, but it doesn't have a self concept. So I refer to it as your inner self, because well, it might be considered part of it. When you don't have a self concept, it's when you and you go back and you reconnect to that infant mind. That's where all of these mystical ideas come from. One with the universe, and there is no me, and that's Buddhism. And gee, I could be almost anything. That's where these kind of things come about. Is when you're reflecting back, and you have these kinds of experiences, and that's important for personal change because you don't want to be rooted in a static, unchanging sense of who you are. If you're going to improve yourself, or you're going to feel yourself more deeply, get more involved, better connected to the love flow. Okay, and then that kid self is where you are communicating with a higher self in you, which means, which is at the heart of mysticism, where you're trying to be in touch with the absolute truth of who you are, and that's what I call the artist in you, the imaginer of all you imagine, and why I say that in rational terms that is your brain. So you have you have feelings that are more often called, the other things are often called spiritual too. But, this is the kind of spiritual that connects to your virtues. The artist in you is the part of you above your timeline, your dramatic self, your kid. And the timeline in which your kid, your inner self, sits and experiences directly, not just with your drama of life, sits in this timeline, this sense of the present, mystics, be here now, thing. How are you going to be here now? That's where you aren't experiencing for a moment anxieties related to the past or your fears of the future, your anxiety attached to your idea of the future. And so it brings you totally into just the present. And in that present, you have a connection to the mystic experience, which the great mythologist Joseph Campbell referred to as bliss. Follow your bliss, which is what the great mythologist said is central goal of your life. That is you follow your bliss. You're following higher virtues that are ways of meeting human need. These higher virtues are goodness, truth, and artfulness. Of course, artfulness is coming from your artist, your inner artist, which is the imaginer of all you imagine. And that artist reaches, in a sense, into your timeline and helps meet your needs within your drama. And within your drama, you get your needs met by through your inner counselor, which is a version of, it's your imaginer as places into a point in the future, which in so doing gives you a point of comfort in the future, your inner counselor. And your inner counselor helps you with anxieties from the present moving forward. Often that approach is what some people call talkie therapy. But it's an important part of this person of inner mind communication, which we call empathetic awareness. And from that central point of you experience also the past. The past is gone. You experience the past. You experience the past. You need to be in a practice of connecting to the good and the bad that has happened to you in your drama, and you're doing a deep mining as you find the bad, your damaged faith and love, and your blessings from the past. You are also healing yourself from feelings of helplessness to do that. It is, all this is really, in a sense, a kind of spiritual feeling. But this is particularly the dramatic healing of your life, in which you're reliving help of the artist coming into your dramatic imagination as your caregiver. You're reliving, getting in touch with your feelings, connected from the past, looking into and looking into no, sorry, from the present and looking into the past. The reason that this communication has to be a kind of reliving is because, well, it's a re-experiencing of the past. And, oh well, when you re-experience the past, you put the things of the past into the past. You have not fully integrated your past. You're still stuck in the past and into a more rigid sense of who you are. And you keep beating yourself over the head, with things you've done, things coming from the past. And so this is a re-healing of the past. But actually, that's a little inaccurate because there are things that you've never really felt because you were unable to because of, in the case of damaged faith and love, there's a helplessness associated with feeling and expressing and integrating something that happens to you. There are times when you couldn't do that. And the brain jumps in and your imaginer jumps in to save you. It jumps in and gives you a safer imagining or symbolic version of what happened to you, something that you couldn't feel and express at the time because the helplessness is attached to a huge sense of anxiety. So your imaginer comes in, that loving artist comes in. No, you can't feel that. You can't stay stuck in this anxiety or hurt you. So it changes it into, it changes the need involved into something symbolic and the circumstances as well into something that is symbolic and more positive. A lot of times you'd see some of the most hurt people saying, "Oh, I had a wonderful childhood. Oh, so good." It's like, yeah, you know that can't be true. This is the real world. And you know they're basically telling you, really, really hurt. And so, wow, okay. Tippy toes, walking careful around that person. Almost anything negative will trigger them, and they get upset. Carried on, and you can go into wild symbolic defenses. That's what you see in manga, by the way. You see a lot of that. The ones that are not all of them, but some of them, many of them. And bless their hearts, they need to be helped. But giving them an equal platform in politics is not the way to do that. They're hurting, and their life is misdirected, and you don't want your country misdirected, so you don't follow that. Sorry to dip into politics again, but this channel is also about politics. And so is your life. It's not a dirty word. And neither is mysticism. So when you're looking into the past, and you're experiencing that, that's where you're healing of your helplessness is most directly affected. And wait a minute. There's always an if and but involved out of that. But if you have a lot of helplessness in your inner mind, in your infant mind experience, that's another kind of healing that is at the foundation of the how you responded when you had a self-concept. And so the helplessness hurt is built one thing on top of another. And that's important to understand. When you have a lot of ACEs, which is damaged faith and love, experienced by your inner self, your child, that makes you more prone to having symptoms of PTSD when you go to war, or to have those serious mental health problems. You're more fragile, and that should be considered before sending someone out. Are they healthy enough to handle that? And some of those things just can't be handled, so that's another thing. But that gets way into a particular video where we're not going to go as deep. But we have a brilliant guy who's coming along later, manager, co-equal person in this effort, and he will talk to you about how to organize and how to be influential in politics, any other subject. Be excited. That's coming. Okay, but I digress. This is how you find healing. But you can have, yes, you can have helplessness in connecting to your inner counselor too. So, and that's like another, could be in some people's minds, in terms of looking at the brain as tripartite, which is kind of a useful way of saying it, but not totally accurate, like everything else. There's always yeah, under these circumstances, yeah, I'm looking at this area, like quantum mechanics, helps us understand the very tiny things in the world. And when you get to the bigger things, you need Einstein. So those are two different things. But there is a connection between them. Certainly, yeah. So they're trying to find that connection. Master theory, the theory of everything. So everything in our physical energy, matter universe. But okay, enough of that. I don't use. But all concepts are connected. To be your real and true inner self is a process of unlearning helplessness. And that healing involves both, back to the Detroit brain. the third line, of course, is the kid in the counselor, the present and the future kind of perspective, and that is built on top of what happened in the past, of course. That is built on the past where you had no self-concept. Okay. So you see, everything that you study brings up more questions. So if you feel like you're having lots of questions, that's good. That's how we make progress. But you can't. I'd be going on forever and ever, having called in some experts. Yeah, this is a lot of people, when people be careful of people who mystify you and then try to take a position of authority. How do you know that they mystify you? How do you know you should be followed? That is why. How do you know it's a real guru? Well, the real guru would have to be a perfect. That would rely on everybody working together in love. That's a growing thing. So, people who claim to have it all are not the people you want to follow. All right, they're people you want to follow are humble people who have a better sense of what they know and what they don't know. That's why a lot of times I'd say, in regard to who's the greatest, who are the greatest mystics, those are scientists, people with a scientific attitude, because they better know what they know and what they don't know, and have a better chance of bringing what they don't know to what they do know. And that's a journey. So, path of the mystic is a journey, and mystic is someone on that journey. I'm tying a lot of things together because it's just so fun. But the great teachers, and I'm not one of them, would not mystify you. But that's hard to do when you don't know who you're talking to, where they're coming from. And that's all about it. So, the connection of all of this, inner mind communication, is that you're connecting to your inner artist, your inner counselor, and your inner caregiver. An empathetic kind, in an empathetic kind of way, which means with empathy, and you can direct that to yourself. You need to be empathetic with yourself. You need to be aware, deeply aware of it. And that's the path of empathetic awareness, rational mystic, and the version of inner mind communication that you're hearing. Yeah. So, some of this has been something you understand. In a sense, much of this you already have a sense of or already know at some level. Not trying to be mysterious, But how are you going to enlighten that inner child? Well, you're not directly enlightened by outside people talking. That helps, but until you bring that enlightenment into yourself with these sorts of practices, you're not becoming more enlightened. You have to internalize what you learn. So you'll hear things that I say that allude to that sometimes. Yeah. Well, we're all part poet, you know. I think I've said enough about this to get you thinking, and that's about all you can do in a video like this. So I'm going to stop here. And so at the end of my videos, because we don't have any music, that's pretty hard work. You know, a lot of the other music is copyrighted, definition. But here's a Irish blessing, very old. I don't think anybody knows who wrote it. If I knew, I would certainly give credit. But I don't think anybody knows. And I like to sing it, and it's I created this little song. That's what I like to sing at the end of the videos, you know, just to help us all feel good. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain falls soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Friend, or its hand. More about the absolute truth later on. Yeah. You gotta have a little comedy in science. Scientific approach. I think. StarTalk has it. Yeah, your personal your personal astrophysicist and your personal comedian, StarTalk. So be sure to tune into that. It's absolutely fascinating. And I find it so, even though both of these guys fly over me, keep me humble. Anyway, yeah, but and switch to Linux is really great. Computers and computer operating system. Yeah, it's great. DistroTube is great too, but he's taking a break from doing it now. He's a great channel. And Robert Reich, politics, and his channel is Robert Reich, R-E-I-C-H. Anyway, I like to say at the end of part of my goodbye, I like to say the word namaste. because it means all that potential for love flow and that connection to the universe that we share should be honored. And we're all connected. And everything is connected. Once you realize that, that's when you see through a lot of BS. Anyway, but when you say the word namaste, having that awareness in yourself, honoring it, that reality in yourself. Namaste. And have a great day. Oh, you're having it. Make a great day, too. Especially if something is blocking your having a great day. Make one. Till later, y'all.